For ACUsports.com, I'm Chris Macaluso, and joining me this morning is head coach of the Wildcat tennis program, Hutton Jones. And Coach, your teams are going to be sent out to 3 different tournaments this weekend. But before you do that, before you did that, this past weekend you took your team down to Mason, Texas for a team retreat. Kind of give us some of the details about that retreat and how nice of a community Mason, Texas is to the Wildcats.
Well, I've long admired Mason, Texas. It's if anybody would check the history of it, it's pretty amazing. Actually, the tennis coach there was kind enough to just kind of open the facility to us and let us train there and in his office. And I knew this was the case. I just never seen it. There's a Sports Illustrated article in the mid-'70s featuring Mason, Texas. All these ranchers have tennis courts all outside of town. And the main site, we have 10 nice courts here at ACU. Mason has 10 really good courts. So it was just a great place to get away and kind of just be together. And we really never done that. It's always tough getting started, and it was, it's a little tough to actually do it. But if you committed to doing it, which we did, I just feel like we're, a month down the road, just getting to know each other and putting a few label on things that, hey, this is how ACU tennis does it. So I was really excited about doing it. I sure plan on, it's kind of like our version of the Junction Boys. We did lose 2 people, but the parents understand. No, it was good. It wasn't. There was a lot of. We played tennis every day. It was mainly, that's what I told them. Hey, we're going down there to play tennis, but we're gonna get to know each other and have some fun too. But it was great.
You have a lot of returning players coming back to each of your teams, the men's and the women's, and you have a handful of newcomers been brought in as well. And as we talked during the summertime, you kept getting more and more excited each passing day about this year's rosters. Tell us a little bit about some of the newcomers you have joining the Wildcats.
Well, it'd be hard to mention them all in this little time frame. So I would just say, the team, the people that have left the program last year built a strong foundation. But, we're kind of stair-stepping or attempting to stair-step into the being eligible to go to postseason competition. And you've got to have those characters developing as they go. And I just feel like everybody's done their job along the way, men and women, which we were right there to win the conference in both last year. I mean, I'm actually think we should have. I'm not like, well, we were lucky to be there. I think we should have. But it'll be tough again this year. The good and bad thing about the Southland tennis is the bad thing is everybody's tough. The good thing is everybody's tough because that's more like you're going to face to go and win an NCAA match. So it's good for us.
Your first weekend of fall competition is this weekend, and you have your Wildcats going to 3 different places, as always, or is pretty frequently. You have representation at the Midland Racket Club Invitational. You'll be sending a handful of men to go to Las Cruces, New Mexico for the Aggie Invitational. And for the first time ever, you have several of your women's players going up to the Greater Cincinnati Invitational. Lots of Great Lake schools up there, Ohio, Indiana represented, and then there's Abilene Christian as part of that massive field as well. How'd you guys get into the Greater Cincinnati Invitational?
Well, they're familiar with us very much so because we've gone up there, played dual matches with Cincinnati twice over the last 6 years, maybe 8 years. I don't know. We've been there twice in the last. And we've played Xavier up there and made a few trips in that area. That's usually in the winter, which is fine. It looks a little different in the winter up there. It's all indoor tennis, and I had been looking for a fall tournament to go, and, I really was wanting to take the whole team, and it ended up being on the same weekend as the Midland, but the Midland only allows us to take 4 players. It's a pretty special invitational. We didn't want to miss that opportunity and take the whole, but that tournament happened to be the same weekend as Midland, so I thought this is perfect. We usually split them and play at 2 different tournaments. I'll take the young ones up there, and they'll have to listen to me for 2.5 days, and we'll learn a lot up there. But I went to high school in Cincinnati. I kind of know different, so I'm familiar with it. It's a great area, and the falls are beautiful. I just thought it would be a neat experience and a lot of just solid D1 teams. So
It will be a neat experience because they're not playing on a college campus as they traditionally would. They get to play at an ATP site in Mason, Ohio, where some of the best professionals come to play before they compete in the U.S. Open.
Yeah, that was the other lure I thought would be very special. It's very much like the U.S. Open site, a big stadium court and several other, stair-stepping down into smaller venues that are they're spread out all over the place playing in a really professional atmosphere. And it's going to feel like that because there's about 12 to 14 women's teams, and there'll be a men's event going on at the same time. But they have plenty of courts, and it ought to feel almost like a national championship. So.
Okay, Coach, we'll be looking at the results as they come in all this weekend. Again, the Wildcats in Mason, Ohio, Midland, Texas, and Las Cruces, New Mexico for this first weekend of the fall season. For head coach Hutton Jones, I'm Chris Macaluso. Go Wildcats!